yo me la vive. La viva.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to our broadcast here. I'm Anthony CA hosting today. In today's edition of our broadcast, we are taking a holistic look at the ritualistic killing that took place some time ago now in Maryland County, specifically in the Plebo area, where a student in the 12th grade, who picture you are looking at right there on the screen, was murdered ritualistically. Dr. Gbaba is here. He and his team from the Decanty Active Theater Incorporated have been involved with PIV works in the Maryland County. He is here, and we are going to take a holistic look in this issue that took place in Maryland County. At this time, I will bring in Dr. Gbaba here quickly. Dr. Gbaba, welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm happy to have you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, folks. There is Dr. Gbaba. He is our guest. His team, like I said, from the Decanty Active Theater, have been doing a lot of peace work, trying to keep the peace in Liberia, and that which took place in Maryland County, having to be one of the issues they have been looking into to resolve the conflict and bring normality to that part of Liberia. So in the discussion, we will be looking at the ritualistic murder of a 12th grader named Mondesia Yoma. Yoma, we understand, was a 12th grader at the Plebo High School. And because of the ritualistic killing that took place, mothers, women in the Plebo area marched from Plebo to Harper in demand for justice. Now, it got acrimonious at some point. There was the burning of homes by protesters because they wanted answers. They couldn't get those answers. We would rather have here to explain these things to us, for all of us to understand, other than Dr. Gbaba, who has an institution in the region that has been working with the residents in that area, or the citizens in that area, to promote peace, to promote justice and accountability. Also, we know that there are 34 persons accused, arrested, and imprisoned. Where? In Zwedru. Why? Dr. Gbaba will tell us. Also, we want to know whether their rights are being respected, talking about those who have been arrested. At this time, I will welcome again Dr. Gbaba for us to start this discussion quickly. Dr. Gbaba, I can't welcome you enough. How you doing? How's family? COVID-19 is trying to have some impact on our life. How you doing with your beautiful wife?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, first of all. And also, thanks for asking about the well being of my family. Uh, Sometimes, those of us who care about people, very seldom do they ask us, how do we feel, how we're feeling, how our family are doing. So, you did a very good job by asking how my family is doing. And I want to say to you and to everyone else out there that we're doing very fine, and also to say thank you to every one of you who's supporting, my legacy, and who, keep my family and myself very happy and healthy. We want to say thank you very much to all of you, our supporters, members of the board of directors. I want to say thank you to them. That will include Mrs. Juliana Kofa Dixon, Timothy Gardner, Harrison Jadwe, my wife, Princess Aramita Gbaba, and of course myself on the board of directors. I want to say thanks to everybody who's supporting us, all our sponsors. And, in particular, I want to say thanks to the African American community, because right now they lead, in terms of our donors list. The African Americans lead, with respect to the donations that they've made. And in Liberia, the citizens of Grand Cru County are number one, followed by Grand Gila County. So I want to say thank you to all of our donors for their donations towards our project. Thank you very much for asking about well-being.
Dad, I'm happy my county Grand Cru is leading the way. So
oh yeah, that the Kwa people are real people. They don't joke. They are sincere people. If they're for you, they're for you. And,
all right.
and Grand Cru, I must say, Grand Cru has contributed immensely towards the liberty of the ordinary people, especially the indigenous people. In dark days, when people couldn't stand up to talk, the Cru people stood up. We have the Southern Liberia War. That's not something for us to forget. We have the Cru rebellion and how they stood up with respect to the Afenelipo crisis. So it's not strange that they are doing what they are doing. And we are taking statistics because the statistic is proving the people who really support peace in Liberia. And so far, according to our statistics, the Grand Cru County is number one.
I'm a man of peace. We
yes.
are people of peace, and I hope we all are, and I'm sure we all should be. Let's get to it, Dr. Gbaba. This ritualistic killing that took place in Maryland County, for which the flames of conflict went all in the roof. Maryland County, I can say to you, was on fire. Before we get to this particular case that we are trying to take a holistic look at, you have been around, you have been doing research and trying to promote peace. Ritualistic killing. There is something that you said that caught my attention. Yet it is. You said ritualistic killing is not Kwa or global culture, not a Liberian culture either.
Yes.
That's why you said. But then the history tells me this has been something done for many years in Maryland County. So explain to us whether there's no contradiction there.
When I said when that statement that you quoted, there's an addendum to that statement.
Okay.
Because I said that ritualistic killing was not Kwa, and it wasn't Liberian, in general.
Right.
But I said that it's a derivative of a cult that was introduced, foreign cults that were introduced in Liberia. When I say cult, I mean the secret societies they got. Whether
a secret society. So what was that secret society? We don't have much time here.
Whether it's Mason or how you call it, the UBF or something that they had, United Brothers Fraternity, you have UBF, you know, those kinds of cults, you know, that were introduced kind of and of course people belonging to those cults were powerful politicians, powerful leaders in the country. So it's a derivative of something of that kind that made Maryland to be like that. But according to history, because you know in the southeastern region that the whole ethnic groups, all the ethnic groups in the southeastern regions are biologically related. They're not just, you know,
they are all Kwa speaking people.
Yeah, not just because the Gbaba or the person is Crown, but that Gbaba and Crown people, they got the same blood because they were brothers' children. Okay, so that's why they are together in that area. That's why their languages are similar. That's why they understand one another. They can communicate. The crewman can speak, and the crewman will understand what the crewman is saying, even though you will be pronouncing the words slightly
differently. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. I got to answer that. Your answer there is that this ritualistic killing that became something notorious sometime back, historically speaking, it was not by any ethnic group in the southeast or anywhere in Liberia.
No, that's not.
But you are saying it was a practice by a court of the Mason and then the UBF. Those are the court institutions that established or started practicing this just to maintain political power or maintain position somehow. So I got it there. Thank you so very much. Dr. Joseph Gbaba is my guest in this edition of Focus on Liberia, and we are taking a holistic look at the murder of a student. Let me bring a picture of that young man for you to see. There you have him. His name is Mondisia Yima. He was a 12th grader at the Plebo High School. This gentleman or the young man supposed to be graduating. Our understanding is that he got killed by other young people. Why did that happen? We want to look into this matter. So,
Anthony, let me just help to explain to the people who are listening about ritualistic, you know, rituals. Rituals are activities that are connected with the spirit or spiritual activities. Okay, so for instance, the people in southeastern Liberia, one of the reasons why I said ritualistic killing was not inherently part of the Kwa culture is because the members of the Kwa culture have Jewish heritage, and in the heritage, in our history, God made it clear that he didn't want human beings to be sacrificed when we are performing rituals. He made it clear when he tested Abraham with his only son Isaac. He took Isaac and asked Isaac, said, sacrifice him. And Isaac, told Abraham to sacrifice his son. But he was testing Abraham. And he found out that Abraham, irrespective of the fact that Abraham only had one son, and he asked Abraham to sacrifice his son. When Abraham obeyed him and showed him that Abraham had faith in God, God showed us what to do if we want to perform a ritualistic ceremony by replacing Isaac with the unblemished sheep, the unblemished lamb that he mysteriously made to appear when Abraham raised the dagger. So this is a lesson to everyone. I want everybody to listen to that, to understand that if you want to perform a ritual, do not use a human being to do it. Get an unblemished sheep to perform your ritual, and you will be as successful as you can be. Okay, so I just want to clarify that, and that the rituals are spiritual in nature. but the request that God made and the lesson that He taught us is that we should not use human beings to perform rituals.
That and that is
animals.
very that is very significant. I think God set that example, biblically speaking, with Abraham, right? When
Yes.
He tested Abraham, Abraham willingly, accepted, but then at the end He said, "No, I can't allow you to sacrifice the human being.
Yes.
There is a lamb for you to sacrifice." So that is a
Exactly.
great point there. I think what you're saying is individuals who are in this habit
Yes.
of using human parts for
Yes.
sacrifice to maintain power for any other ritual purpose is completely wrong. And that is
Yes.
profound. I'm good that you brought that piece of history.
And then the other proof,
Mm-hmm.
that another argument that I want to put forth, and
Mm-hmm.
a clarification I want to put forth to the Liberian people is
Mm-hmm.
that back in the day, because as I told you, the people in the southeastern region are related. The Crown people used to travel on foot from Grand Jide to Cape Palmas because they wanted to see the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So they were always passing through Gbaba land to go to Cape Palmas to see the ocean. And I'm talking about centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout those centuries and the stories that were passed on to us, nobody ever said that when they travel, no Crown person ever said that when they travel from Grand Jide to Cape Palmas, through Gbaba land, that they got missing, or people killed them, or people did any kind of ritualistic thing to them. So that further proves to me, and also is a testimony that's not something that Gbaba people do. So I want people to understand that it's not Gbaba culture, it's not Kwa culture, and it's not Liberian. Liberian people our tradition will request us to sacrifice an animal.
So
Not
that I know earlier you said this thing started with cults like the Mason. Those were mostly people in political power, wanted to maintain power and using these things. So where did it come from? I know it was the Mason that started practicing it, and in the case of Liberia, they started practicing it in Maryland County or maybe other places. What my question I'm asking is, where did the idea come from? Saying this is not an African, practice or something that we African.
it's a
So where did
Western
it come
cult.
from?
It's a Western cult. It's a Western cult. You see, because when the free slaves came, they came with different ideas. Western ideas. So it's a Western idea. It's a Western idea.
So any history,
But let
saying
me
you
make
said
it
it's a
clear
Western.
too. Let me make it clear. That also, it's human. It's human. I would say that because barbaric times, and even in Africa, some people will do that. So it's a human tendency, but with certain people who have those kinds of beliefs. So it's not just only Western, but the practice. What made it prevalent in Maryland was because there were too many big people, figures who were involved in that, and they did it with complacency.
So
Okay.
Dr. Baba, how
Yes.
is this in any way different from what we know in Liberia to be the art of witchcraft? Right? In African cultures, there's this thing we continue to hear about witchcraft, how some individuals in the middle of the night will go about killing other people because you're saying this ritualistic behavior is not an African practice, but there is something we know to be witchcraft. What it is and how is it different from this?
Yeah. Well, what you will note also that I corrected myself to say that it's human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's human.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's human. They're not just that. It's not African per se. It's human because people in Africa do it. Okay, and what is happening here is not happening in America. What we're talking about is something that happened in Africa. So it's human. I want to correct that to say that it's human, and I wouldn't say that Africans are free of that kind of act. Okay, but there are certain individuals. Now we come to the concept of the belief system and the notion. There are certain individuals who have the notion that they think that if they kill human beings and or extract their human parts, that it will give them more power. And that is not true. That is not true. You and myself don't need
That
to,
how it is not true, and this thing is being practiced historically by individuals, especially the courts institutions that you talk about. They continue to practice it. It might have been working for them. It have killed many of them to maintain power, and you saying it's not working. So what's your definition of not working?
um my this is where now what you're talking about now, you're talking about individual differences.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's where individual differences will come in. Because for me, I don't believe in that. But it doesn't mean that Peter Paul doesn't believe in that believe in it. Somebody else may believe that, oh, it works if I kill somebody, and or if I extract a part, I'm going to get rich, I'm going to be powerful. That's their belief. My belief is that that's not good.
All right. Now let's get to the issue of this young man. Folks in cyberspace watching us here, focus on Liberia, taking a historic look, a holistic look at the death of one Mendisha Yeman. He was ritualistically murdered, according to reports, in Maryland County. The citizens of Maryland County, especially from the Plebo area, make all effort to seek the attention of the authorities there so that they could find a conclusion to the killing of this 12th grader who was killed ritualistically. So, Dr. Gbaba, let me come to you. Talking about this student who was killed, tell us you have a team on the ground that have been trying to gather all the facts. He was killed, was reported, and then what next? What happened?
Okay, now with respect to Mendisha Yeman's death, and the reason why Decanty Artist Theater is concerned is because in 2019 we formally launched the Kuka Tunnel Peace Project in Liberia. We simultaneously launched it in Cape Palmas because we work with university students from Tottenham University, and also in the Monrovia area with students from various universities in the Monrovia area in Montserrat County. So we have two chapters in Liberia. We have the Benedru chapter of Maryland, and we have the Montserrat chapter. Now, one of the things that I want for people to understand is that the Peace Project monitors human rights abuse, killing of people, violation of the rights of people, and all of that. So when we talk about peace, it's not just as a peacemaker, I will be quiet. When somebody does something, I will not report it. We are there to observe and to make sure that everybody is safe. Now, what happened in Maryland with respect to the death of this 12th grader is that it made all the young people in Maryland County and even in Liberia to be scared, to be unsure of their security. They are scared. The 12th graders and the students of Plebo High School are traumatized. The mothers and the fathers, the parents of the children in Plebo, they're scared. It could happen to anybody's child anytime. That's the situation with this young man. And therefore, Mendisha comes from a family. His father and mother passed when he was a baby. His aunt Mary Yeman, took him and brought him up. And she brought him up in a good way that he was serious about education. He was serious about education in the 12th grade. Not only that, but Mendisha was a commercial motorcyclist. He used that to raise money, not only for him to go to school, but also to help his family, to help his mom, his surrogate mom, and family, to survive.
To survive.
So when he was murdered, a whole family, the lifeblood of a whole family was suspended. You see, not only that, but then a whole school of children, of youth, they got scared. So and then the mothers got scared too. So that's why that's what that reaction took place. To have mothers, you have women, thousands of women with men marching from Plibo to Harper is a good distance.
Yeah,
They
that before
marched.
we come to the marching,
Yes.
I'm not sure this was the first time this had happened.
No.
So then what was different about humans' death for which the school, the woman in Plibo decided that, look, we can't let the one slide. What was different about this one?
It's the impunity
Mm-hmm.
that of ritualistic killing that takes place in Maryland, where whenever it takes place with impunity. Because when I asked the youth, or in Maryland, why this happened, they said that, or they gave me some example. They said, and we're not even talking about during Toba time, blah blah blah, when they hang people from Maryland, all of that. Now I'm talking about like during this wartime, etc., rebel time. They said in 1992, somebody was killed, brutally killed, and nothing came out of it. Then maybe 5-6 years ago, another person was killed, nothing came out of it. Then now with Medicia's death, they said, no, that's too much. That's too much, especially for his age. We are talking about a nation right now that has brain drain. So every child who is going to school, who is seeking education, that child should be, his or her life should be valued. We need educated people. So you can't go and kill somebody's child like that and you think it will go free. So the reaction of the people was equivalent to the hurt that they received. People should understand that.
Hold on, that can we also say that his story, because earlier you were explaining that if both parents have passed,
yes,
and that he was living with step parents,
yeah, you're living
and
with his
that he
parents.
was more like the only surviving child of these parents that passed.
Yes.
And so for him to have been killed, that story alone was, something moving that the woman couldn't take it. I mean,
Yeah,
they felt that
he
they
has
needed to do
siblings, right? He
something.
has siblings, but
Mm-hmm.
but his efforts to obtain an education and his
Okay.
efforts to win to be the breadwinner of the family, that
Okay.
it meant a lot to that family.
For that
It
family.
meant a lot to the family. You see, and not only that, but he was a child. People should understand that when they do this kind of thing, they should understand that that child that you're killing, you're killing a mother, you're killing a father, you're hurting people. And that's what happened. The people were hurt.
And let me read something for you here. According to reports there, Roland Apperton and three
Yes.
other individuals identified as Mose Monmal, Francis Clark, and Daniel Wisser, all used are the alleged murderers. Has it been proven that the individuals being accused are actually the killers of this student?
That has not been proven. That's why they say alleged.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want for people to understand that people can accuse you,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that you're guilty of what they're accusing you of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the word alleged there tells you that it's an allegation. It's not a proven fact. Until it
So,
can be proven.
there has not been any confession since, because my understanding is the individuals have been arrested because they are the accused.
There has been what has happened is that there has been pressure, to for them to hush. It's a hush thing.
Mm-hmm.
because if they really press these young people, okay. Now another thing about ritualistic killing, most of the time, historically speaking, most of the people that were accused and or that were convicted of ritualistic killing were older people.
Older people. Fine.
Older people, established people with money,
Mm-hmm.
with power, and this and that. These little young children that they're accusing of this stuff, the people are reacting because they feel it's not the young people that really did it. Somebody sent them.
So is it true that there's no history?
The aperture board is supposed to be like 35 or something like that. He's too young for those kinds of things. What is he looking for? He's not he's not an official of government. He's not any of those kinds of things. He's a young person. So people are saying that they were set because they're too young.
Yeah, so I was just about to ask you, if we look at the history of ritualistic killing, I know you said for the most part it has always been older people in position of power who have always been accused.
Yeah.
And this is more like an unusual accusation coming. 3 young people being accused of another young person.
Exactly.
And it said that the people there are not buying this story. Are they not believing this? Looking at the history of who have always been accused of ritualistic killing.
That's the impression. That's the impression we're getting. They're saying, man, these children didn't do it. They even got the money to do it. Somebody paid them to do it. That's what they're saying. And also, it's important then, therefore, for us to tell the Liberian people to be very, very prudent, okay? Not to, I mean, the country. What this shows, this particular incident, what it shows is that the country is getting so bad off that they not only did they include young people to fight their political battle, for them to get the power, to give them guns and all of that. Now they're using the young people to commit ritualistic crimes.
That, are you suggesting that this is a new phenomenon now?
It's a new one. It's a new one because
how can this be true? Anything that point to the truthfulness of how you're seeing that? I mean, we know history they've been using young people to run campaign, to run all that, to yell for them. But now ritualistic killing. Any reason to believe this?
For the names that those that are accused, they're too young. This is like, I mean, other people can give their opinion about it, but for my opinion, the ages, when they started calling the ages and all of that, I was like, this can't be true. These young, they're too young for that. Somebody must be guiding them. Somebody must be instructing them. Somebody must be giving them money. Somebody must be using them as scapegoats. That's my impression.
Yeah, but ritualistic killing, the way we know it, usually when someone is killed for ritualistic purpose, we see that body parts have been extracted from the individual. Is that the case with Yema? Anything?
Yeah, they said his fingers and different parts were cut off, according to the newspaper report that came in. That's what they said, and the pictures that they show of him, I mean, he was slaughtered, like you killing a goat or something like that. Actually, it was so bad.
That you are a peace advocate. You've been involved with the issue of seeking peace in our country, especially looking back at the conflict we had. Young people were heavily involved, so killing became something more than common for them. Is it not in any way possible that the young people decided to target this young man, a friend probably, maybe for some disagreement, anything, nothing like that?
We can leave that open. There's a probability for that, okay? But overall, what I want to say also to the authorities and to all Liberians is that this shows the need for the reinstitution of genuine rule of law. Why do I say that? Because people are doing these things because they see killers in the House of Representatives and the Senate. They see killers in the cabinet, in the judiciary. So now it has been glamorized. So to the extent now where you see a 30-some-year-old person, 25-year-old person talking about he or she is involved in ritualistic killing. That's it. That's it right there. Lawlessness, the lack of respect for the sanctity of human life. That's what the Liberian government has shown for the past 30 some more years now, since the rebel incursion in Liberia. Because they have not brought the people who started this thing to justice.
Dad, let me bring to your attention something you were trying to bring up earlier. The women of Maryland County, the mothers of Maryland County, the sisters of Maryland County, from what we see, it's like they have had enough.
Yes. And
So you see a picture there on the screen of thousands of women, from what I can see, in the streets with palm branches. Tell us what is going on here. Why were they in this huge number?
Well, one of the things that I gather from this photo is the fact that, first of all, you see the women, women are very powerful. Women are very, very powerful. When women gather like this in this kind of huge number to express themselves, the people don't, a lot of Liberians, who are in power don't know the culture and history of Liberia, but this is a cultural message. In Africa, women don't gather like this. When women gather like this, it means it's a big sign. It's a big sign, of an omen to happen in the country. People should not just take that lightly. What the government did was to suppress, and they have suppressed the will of the people, the anger of the people, the fear of the people, by not focusing on who did this, and to give us definite answers to what took place in that place in Maryland.
Dr. Gbaba, when the incident happened, according to media reports, residents of Plebo had gone to the office or the home of the superintendent to seek answers. And the answer that they got from the superintendent was they were going to look into it when the term of court resumed in Maryland County. So more like telling them that, hey, there's nothing we can do now. You will have to wait until the next court section starts, and then we can see what we can do. My understanding, according to a report, is that was when the woman said, no, we can't wait. But my question here is, I saw palm branches tied on their head, in their hands, from the traditional background. What does that signify?
Okay, now the palm branches, the palm plant, the palm tree is a very versatile plant in African culture. Okay, because through that the palm branch, we get palm nuts, we get palm kernel, we get palm butter, we get palm oil, we get soap, you get other things. But when it comes to death, we also use the palm branches, to signify, the presence of a corpse, or like, for instance, we had a corpse in a car and we were traveling up country. We put palm branches in front of the car to let people know that there's a corpse in that car. So the palm branches also, palm branch is about life, and it's also about death. It signifies life and death. Okay, so the palm branches also signifies peace. So when I look at this picture, the people went with it was a peaceful protest, a peaceful march. So march. So that the palm branches there also signifies peace. They didn't go there with guns. They didn't go there with cutlasses and machetes. They went with palm branches. And they appealed verbally, not with guns or whatever it is, but to suppress the whole thing. The government is charging those that they accused, who are not even convicted of the crime that they accused. They are charging them with arson. They're charging them with aggravated assault. They're charging them with armed robbery. And they're charging them, there are 4 charges they have on them.
And
Okay.
that let me bring something to your attention here quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
at some point, when the citizens were seeking answers and they could not get the answers, in some of the citizens of frustration, we saw some violence taking place. We saw homes being set ablaze, and one of those homes having to be the home of the Speaker Buffer Chamber, who I understand is a resident of Plebo as well. So I know you have condemned this violence, though you support the people's right to peacefully assemble in quest for justice. You call this vandalism. There are others who believe that the failure of the authority to find a solution or to find the perpetrators or to provide justice for these people warrant this particular action. So some people think that this is what the people needed to do for the authority to do something because they are like toddlers. You have to put fire on their back. And you are
Yeah,
saying it's
well,
vandalism. What do you say
yeah.
to that?
Well, first of all, their country artist theater as a peaceful organization, we don't
Mhm.
support the destruction of property because we support the sanctity, we respect the sanctity of human life and property. Okay, people work hard to build their houses, to build their homes, and all of that. If you feel that anybody has committed a crime or whatever it is, you must take the person to court. Not go and burn down the property because the property, it helps government to raise revenue. You see, and it also provides shelter for whomever has built, constructed the property. So those are things that people need to understand that in the future, irrespective of the disrespect that was meted out to them and all of that, they should not touch people's properties. That is absolutely wrong. And in the second instance is that why did they even target Buffer Chambers' property anyway? Because he lives in Monrovia, he's not even there in Kepamas. So why did they do that? They may have their own reasons or whatever it is, but overall, they're not supposed to touch people's properties. They're not.
Thank you. Thank you, Dad. Folks watching us here, this is Focus on Liberia in an exclusive conversation with Dr. Joseph Gbaba. He is a leader with the Decote Artist Theater Incorporated, an institution involved with seeking peace and reconciliation in Liberia. His organization has a team in Maryland County. I'll be showing you a picture very soon. They were able to visit the family that got affected. I'm talking about Yuma's family, and I will show you a picture of the team. But Dad, before I show that picture, 34 persons were accused, arrested, and imprisoned as being people engaging in violence. Those who were involved with the vandalizing of the prison compound in Harper, and those who were involved with the burnings of home in Plebo, including the speaker's home. There are people who were arrested. Some people were accused of vandalizing police cars. They arrested 34 persons and they are in jail in Zwedru. What is the latest that you know about these individuals? Are they being processed according to the due process?
The last time when I spoke with them, that was like a week and a half ago. I was able to speak with the student leader,
Mhm,
Koma,
mhm.
Thomas Koma from Tottenham University. He's a senior student, and what he said was that the authorities had called them to a meeting, and when went there for the meeting, that's when they were accused and arrested and put in prison. So, but they have not processed them with respect to a hearing or whatsoever. But I understand that that may happen during this May term of court or something like that. But they are in prison. And when I asked him, he told me that there were about 34 persons that were arrested from Harper.
And from what uh, the way they are staying in prison, and there has not been any adjudication whatsoever. Are their rights not being violated for
Yes, their
being
rights
held
are
in
being
prison?
violated. Their rights are
Their,
being violated. They're
why
being
you say that?
violated because and they are all they are entitled to legal representation as well.
Do they
You
not
know, so
have legal representation at this time, Dad?
when I spoke with them, they didn't have. They didn't have. They need legal representation. They need legal representation because what is happening is that there's more focus now on people that cause the arson and the riot than
Mhm,
on the person who killed,
mhm,
the person that precipitated the action of the people.
mhm.
And when you are meting out justice, it's not supposed to be like that. The source of the problem should be attacked immediately, and people need to know or how justice is being meted out on this person or individual who has been accused of so and so. But the emphasis right now, and the people who reacted to the crime that was committed are the ones who are getting the brunt of the punishment than the person that is being accused. That's what's happening right now. So in that way, they're suppressing, the rights of the citizens to react to any kind of threat of life that occurred in the case of the child that was murdered.
Thank you so very much. That your institution, the DATR, the Documentary Artists and Theater Incorporated, that is a peace advocacy organization that you head, visited the grieving mother of the late Yuma, the student who was murdered ritualistically. Tell us, we're looking at a picture of your team. What was the goal here?
The goal here, it's something like, the early Christians, Christ, tells us that, we should comfort the sick, we should comfort those who are bereaved, we should visit people in prison and all of that. He had his right for saying that because those are areas that affect peace and tranquility in any nation and in any society. So you can see the humble abode that these people come from, that the child comes from. He lived in a house, a thatched roof house, not even a zinc roof.
I know.
You see, not even a zinc roof. That alone should tell the perpetrators, people who committed this crime, should tell them what the kind of hurt that they did to this family. This is a child that was bringing in daily bread to his mother and his family, his siblings, in a situation like this. You see? So, and the other thing is that the decorative artists, youth, they're all college students. Some of them have college degrees. So I'm teaching them to let them know that we got to be human beings. If something happens to somebody else, we must go there and sympathize with them. We must tell them, never mind. We cannot continue, to sit down and say, because it didn't happen to me, so that's it. So the peace building process, through that process, we're also training youth to be concerned citizens, to be humanistic in their approach and their behavior towards one another. But Sonny, I want to beg that I leave within the next 5 minutes because okay, Mishak is on, so maybe you can just talk with Misha. Misha is the director, country director for Decorative Artist Theater, and he's in Harper, Maryland.
Thank you, Dad. You can leave, and then I have Sia here. Mr. Elliot is here. He's my niece, by the way.
Oh
So
yeah.
we can continue on to asking some questions concerning this incident. And so, any final words before we take leave of you?
Yeah, my final words would be that I want to appeal to the president and to the justice minister to
Mhm.
please, give this, incident a little more focus, and to make sure that those who are responsible are brought to light and to justice. so that it doesn't continue. Because right now, the youth in Maryland, they are scared. They are scared. I don't know whether the people understand that, but I myself will be scared if I were in a senior class and my classmate got, gruesomely killed, like the way this child was killed. I would be scared. The
Thank you, Dad.
mothers, the mothers are hurt. So you should please do something. It's not just only about the house that they burned. That shouldn't be the focus of this investigation. The focus should be who committed the crime that caused the people to be so angry to do the things that they did. And let's move on from there.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for the time. And Mishak is a very smart young man anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, so he will continue with you guys. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dad. We appreciate you always coming to share light on these things as we, bring up the questions that Liberians are looking answers for. Thank you so very much. All right. Again, folks, in cyberspace, focus on Liberia, we are taking a holistic look at the ritualistic killing of a student in Maryland County in the Plebo area. His name is Mondesia Yima. It was reported that he got killed ritualistically, and we are trying to look into this story. I have with me, joining me from all the way Maryland County, Mr. Elia is joining me from there. Welcome, Elia. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm doing fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm happy that you have joined us. So, from what we know, you are a member of the Dangote Artists Theater Incorporated, trying to, foster peace and promote peace and reconciliation in that region. But it was not peaceful when this young man got killed ritualistically. Homes were set ablaze. The women marched all the way to Hapo. The prison that got vandalized, we understand 34 persons um, have been arrested and in prison. Due process or not, we don't have the facts yet. What do you know? Please, in 5 minutes, explain to us how they all came down. What was the reason the people acted the way they did?
All right, thank you so much. Again, like you already called my name. My name is Meshach C. Elliott. I'm the country director of DIT Maryland chapter,
Mhm, mhm,
and DIT is involved in peace and also the promoting of Liberia and African culture.
mhm,
And we do most of these things through the visual art.
mhm,
Regarding the death of Modisha, is something that in no way satisfies some of us
mhm,
because Modisha is or was a 12th grade student prior to his death.
mhm,
He normally depend on motorbike.
mhm. Oh, internet, don't do this to us.
Yeah.
My country,
He lived with his aunt
mhm,
Mary Nyema,
mhm,
and he's one of the breadwinners of that house
of the house.
because yeah, he has two siblings that really depend on him. And so normally he after school he go on his hustle and get on the bike,
Mhm.
transport people here and there. And if there's no school today, he used the entire day to hustle just to put food on the table.
On the table.
And while when he went on his hustle, and according to the information, because we went at the house there, his one of his close friends told him to carry him for his load.
Mhm.
And when they went there where he was slaughtered, he was killed, he was murdered. And so he was the person who did the act, the neighbor, the those who live around there saw him, saw the blood on his hand, and then tried to inquire from him. Initially he said it was cow that was killed. And so the people told him that can we go to see the place? He said only men go there. But when they got there, unfortunately, it was human being that was killed. So he was the
Jesus.
primary suspect. He was the primary suspect, and so he was directly taken to the traditional people
Mm-hmm.
because that happened in the traditional area.
Mm-hmm.
And so later he was turned over to government and he was placed in prison. So they kept
But
him.
hold, hold on, hold
Mhm.
on, Mr. C. There are three other persons I understand were also accused of being part of this killing. Anything you know about the other three besides Appleton?
Yeah, so those people names were called by the primary suspect.
Okay.
Yeah, and so before that names were called, those names were called in the process of the protest.
Okay.
In the process of the protest, then the names were actually called, I can say, after the protest,
After the
because
protest.
when they were delaying, I mean, the judgment of the prime suspect, it was
Mm-hmm.
how the motorcyclists and all the young people in Maryland County decided to carry on a peaceful protest that came up, I mean, to look in the eyes of to be very much brutal. And so the march from Plivo, they started the protest from Plivo. There was no school, and they came to Harport. There was also no school. They stopped activities the first day. The second day, the
So
first day was very
who called the
peaceful.
names of the three persons? Was it the primary suspect who called their
The
name?
primary suspect, it was the
Okay.
primary suspect, the
Okay.
primary suspect who was in jail. So when the protest got intensified,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense that even the protester went at the prison compound,
Mm-hmm.
and the prisoners walked away
Mm-hmm.
because the protest was not easy, where the protesters were even burning
Holmes, don't do this to us, internet. Folks, bear with us here. Connectivity is always an issue for the most part. In Mama, Liberia, we have a gentleman who has joined us from Maryland County to talk about the ritualistic murder of Mondisia Yiman, a 12-girl who was killed reportedly through ritualistic art. And so bear with us. There is a challenge there always with connection. I really have some questions for this young man so we can understand how this thing all went down. According to reports, about 34 persons, being arrested. They are in prison. They can't be in prison in Maryland County because during the protest, the protesters they couldn't hold their peace. They vandalized the prison cell in Harper, Maryland County, where they had some people in prison, and the prisoners had escaped, and so there was no prison in the wisdom of county authorities to hold whoever they had in prison. So these protesters who were arrested, accused of vandalizing, accused of setting homes ablaze, were taken to Zouadrou, Grand Gila County. I'm hoping that this young man can join us again so that we can, continue to ask the questions that we have. I want to get to the bottom of this thing. But while we wait for him, let me read some comments here. Let's hear from Cecilia Coffey Brown. Why do people do ritualistic killing? God hates as in detest anyone, I think it detests anyone who shed human blood as sacrifice. Madam Brown, thank you for joining us. It is only God who has the right over life and death. Such people who sacrifice humans for power, although get power, but such way is an abomination in the eyes of God. Therefore, they do not prosper any offices they hold after sacrificing and shedding human blood for power. God's true vine is the source of productive power that bears fruit. We need to connect to the true vine so that our she continues right there. Let me hear from Edward Tuba. I was thinking it was being practiced for human organs harvesting. Was human organs being sold in Liberia due to this? He's asking a question. Let's hear from Samuel B. Astonfield. Excellent that we Hebraic bloodline. Hebraic bloodline. But the non-Hebraic Philistines, gods are to blame for every ritual murder, every ill of man. I don't know what you were trying to say there. Let me hear from the man Sekou Keller. Yes, ritualistic killing is foreign, and few African tribes engage in human sacrifice before colonialism. But I disagree with the doctor when he tried to link biblical stories to our ancestral culture and values. Let's hear from Samuel again. The gods are the number one enemy of man. Somebody wrote talking about some false gods, I believe. Good afternoon, Mr. See how your end today. Mine end is superior. You can see I'm in my purple shirt. Talking about Vav again. Yes, that's the truth. Yeah, from Samuel B. Astonfin. The gods have been misguiding men into practices that are essentially detrimental to him through history, and they have perpetrated these crimes in secret. Somebody is making the point. This is Siata T. Townsend. She is an ardent follower here and a supporter of Focus on Liberia. Thank you for always joining us from all the way Houston. These blood-tested gods have promoted ritualistic beliefs in all cultures over history throughout the world. But Abaddon is coming for them. I don't know what is Abaddon, maybe Judgment Date, I would think. Human sacrifice was a universal spiritual practice. Even in the histories of Jesus, Abraham echoes human sacrifice. However, mainstream African cultures have since abandoned the practice in prehistoric times. The modern ritualistic killing is carried by human organs traffickers and courtists. I hope I got that word right. Let's hear from Francis C. Wilson. What a crook, Anthony. That is nonsense. Those people who did some things did that long before the settlers came. That is not to say that they didn't pick up the practices, those same evils. Human beings are intrinsically evil, and the statement that ritualistic killing don't happen in the West is completely inaccurate. The sacrifice of humans, and especially children, in every culture, Caucasian, Indians, Chinese, South American, etc. Please stop your continuous divisive talk. Somebody might be going after somebody. I don't know whether you're going after me, but if you are doing that, that's the right place to go. I'm the guy to go after. Let's hear from Telewayan Gbaba. With all these educated people we have in Liberia, they allow an empty head, I think empty head meant to say that, and corrupt man as president. Wow, he was voted. That is democracy. It has consequences. It is juicy when it's on your side, and it's bitter when it's not in your favor. Get used to it. When Bald Naked General made his confession about his own ritualistic killings, he spoke of his tribal inheritance, that from you he was selected to be the representative of their tribal god who needed the continuous blood sacrifices. Young guys need to be truthful, maybe. This person is writing. Let's hear from Francis. Kill us in the church. That is a big one there. Kill us are in the church. Someone is making that point. Let's hear from UJ Victor Morgan. Can I call on WhatsApp audio instead of video? Yes, you can do that. And I have given the number to Dr. Gbaba. The phone is right here in my hand. If you call on WhatsApp right now, you will be connected to our system and you will be live. You'll be loud and clear for the audience to listen to you. Folks in cyberspace, focus on Liberia. I'm answering here hosting. We have been taking a holistic look at the mother of a 12th grader by the name Mondisha or Yuma that took place in Plebo, Maryland County. He was attending the Plebo High School. So we have been talking about the ritualistic mother of Mondisha Yuma. Yuma was a 12th grader at the Plebo High School. We understand when he was mothers, women in Plebo couldn't take it. They have had enough. They marched from Plebo all the way to Harper. I don't know how many miles, but it's a long distance. They walk to get there because they were looking for answers. They wanted justice. Our understanding is this young man lost his parents sometime back, was living with his aunt. He was the breadwinner of that family. He had other siblings that were depending on him. This family was living in poverty. And he got killed by one habitant who, according to people, they saw blood on his hands. Where is he now? I understand he is in the hands of the authority. So in the frustration of the protesters, the burning of homes took place. We understand, including the speaker, Buffer Chimo house got set ablaze by the protesters because they needed answers. When they went to the superintendent said, well, we will wait till the next term of court to see what we can do. And they couldn't take that. They wanted answers now. This young man was murdered. Ritualistically, they said. But talking about the protesters, those who said homes are blazed, those who said cars are blazed, those who went to prison and opened the doors for other criminals to be released because they were not happy about the death of this young man, those individuals have been arrested and have been taken to Grand Gila County in Zwedru, where they are now held in prison. 34 persons. Whether or not there's due process, we don't know yet, but they are in prison rather in Zwedru or Grand Gila County, to get it right there. In Zwedru, Grand Gila County, there were the 34 persons who were accused of engaging in vandalism, setting homes ablaze, setting cars ablaze, vandalizing prisons in Maryland County. They are in Zwedru, Grand Gila County, in prison for the acts of vandalism or protest, violent protest action that they carry on in their quest seeking justice for the death of Mondisha Yeman. I'm going to show you some pictures here. And then, so quickly, this is a group called Deconti Artists Theater Incorporated, headed by Dr. Joseph Gbaba. It's a peace advocacy organization fighting for peace and reconciliation in Liberia. If we come back here, this is the home of Buffer Chambers that the protesters have set ablaze in their quest for justice for the death of student Mondisha Yeman. Here are the mothers. Here are the women of Maryland County. Most of these women, I can say all of them, they walk from Plebo all the way to Harper, Maryland County, in their quest to seek justice for the death of the young man. They have palm branches. They have placards. Throughout this march, it was peaceful. When they marched from all the way Plebo to Harper City, Maryland County. This is the student who was murdered, according to reports, by a young man who will later say he did not act alone, but he acted along with 3 other young people. The history of ritualistic killing, anybody who have ever been accused, for the most part, 90% or 95% of the time, had always been people in power, big people, but this time it's different. The guy who is being accused of carrying on the ritual act was a young man. And he went further and called 3 other young people. People who have been around, they are not believing it. We hope we will get to the bottom of this. We hope the authorities in Maryland County, we hope leaders in Liberia will find the truth about what happened. Is it true that young men were involved with the killing? If it is true, was he pushed or were they pushed because he was the one suspected? He was the one who they saw blood on his hands. He said he has killed an animal. But they said, well, let us go there. And when they got there, it was a human being. That was Mondisha human. So we want to know whether or not he was being contracted. Did he act alone? Was it out of argument that he carried on the act? Was he paid by anybody? These are the questions Liberians are asking today. And what is this idea of killing somebody for ritualistic purposes? When you use human parts for anything, for any reason whatsoever, what does it give you? There has been a practice in Liberia and Maryland County has been notorious for a historically speaking. Will this come to an end in our country? A young man's life being taken away in such a manner that annoys anybody. And the women were furious. They wanted justice, the march. Today, there's no justice yet for this young man. 34 persons are languages in prison in Zwedru Grand Jira County because they had enough. They wouldn't get the answers they needed, so they took matter into their own hands. I'm sure if the authority had acted prudently, swiftly, decisively, if they have looked into this matter with the efficiency and they have shown the leadership that needed to be demonstrated, that will warrant the gravity of the killing of this young man, in some way they would not have taken the action they took in their quest to seek justice. I'm not saying they were right for acting the way they did. Somebody will call it vandalism. Those whose homes were set ablaze are not the one who carried on the killing. But that's what happens when people are seeking answers and they are not getting answers. History is here to remind us this is not new. And so the fact that we have, why are leaders not acting to prevent this kind of violence from happening? But I will leave here to say to you, we are focused on Liberia. We want to join all peace-loving Liberians that the authorities should get to the bottom of this. We need answers. If it is true that Appeton, the guy who said he carried on the killing and called the names of his friends, let it be known. It shouldn't take that long. People said they saw blood on his hands. Let it be adjudicated speedily. And for those who are in prison, let them investigate them. If they are guilty, let the law take its course. Stop wasting our time. These are the things that were dragged on in the past, and we don't want to see these things happening today. We want a new Liberia. I once listened to a song that said, give me a new day. Do you want that new day? That new day starts with justice. Can we get justice? Yes, we can get justice. The leaders must give of justice, for justice is the way to go. On that note, folks, in cyberspace, I got a commercial here to show you. Focus on Liberia today is having a Tough Talking program called Tough Talking Thursday. In Tough Talking Thursday, the issues will be APM terminal. APM terminal will be discussed. A representative in the House of Legislature, actually a senator, Edwin Mervyn Snow, said That was the greatest mistake ever. The terrible deed that they passed. They will be looking at the 8 p.m. terminal. The Norwegian government also, folks, has done an audit in which money they have given for the electrification of Liberia. 6 million of that money cannot be accounted for. They want their money, and the government of Liberia is saying, hey, legislators, your people put money aside, we have to give it to them. They will talk that Liberia is doing everything possible to open an embassy in the United Arab Emirates. Is that a good decision? Oh, the tough talking guys will be here to talk about it. On Saturday, Pazawi will be here. He is an ardent supporter of Joseph Yumambwaka. He's coming here on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time to make the case for Joseph Yumambwaka. He wants Waka to be president for Liberia. Why? That's the question that I have. Well, folks, we have to leave it here. We want to say thank you for always following our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. I'm a sincere, and I brought you yet another exciting, informative, and balanced reporting here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Mama Liberia. The song that is taking us on, as always, folks, and I don't want you to forget, that song is We Are All Liberians. That song is taking us home, and that song is taking us home right now. Enjoy that song, folks. And join us this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for our program, Tough Talking Thursday. The panelists are set. It will be hot, and you do not want to miss it. I love you all, folks. Bye-bye.
Oh,